As disciples of Jesus Christ, we have been reflecting together on the events of 1921 on this island. Significant anniversaries like this one provide us with an opportunity to reflect and to explore what can be learned for today. One way of doing this is to re-examine the contrasting and intertwined narratives of conflict and compromise that surround these pivotal points in our history.
When it comes to the centenary of the partition of Ireland, the establishment of Northern Ireland, and the resulting reconfiguration of British-Irish relationships, some people may struggle with the concept of a shared history. What is undeniable, however, is the reality that we have to live in a shared space on these islands and to make them a place of belonging and welcome for all.
An important part of this is to acknowledge the corrosive impact of violence and words that can lead to violence. We have a moral responsibility to do so, and we also have a duty of care to those who live with the trauma of the aftermath of violence.
Christ's teaching, ministry and sacrifice were offered in the context of a society that was politically divided, a society wounded by conflict and injustice. He once said, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things of God." These words conveyed the reassurance that beneath these divisions in society lay a deeper source of connection, because all things belong to God.
Jesus lived out this message of hope by repeatedly and intentionally crossing social boundaries to affirm the dignity of those who had been marginalized or excluded by his own people and by society. One example was his meeting with the woman of Samaria in John chapter 4. In encounters like this, we see that Christ does not seek to minimize differences, but rather to establish connection through gracious listening, replacing exclusion and shame with the hope of new beginnings.
This year gives us an opportunity to intentionally create spaces for encounter with those who are different from us and with those who feel marginalized in the narratives that have shaped our community identity. This may mean facing difficult truths about failings in our own leadership in the work of peace and reconciliation. As Christian churches, we acknowledge our failings in this regard. We lament the times that we failed to bring to a fearful and divided society that message of the deeper connection that binds us as children of God, despite our different identities. Too often we have been captive churches, not captive to the Word of God, but to the idols of state and nation.
We are inspired and encouraged by the progress that has been made in building relationships of mutual respect and trust across these islands. These relationships are often tested and will at times be found wanting, but our communities have also demonstrated great resilience, solidarity and compassion, as evident most recently in the response to COVID-19.
There's been considerable progress, too, in addressing unjust structures that excluded people and unfairly limited their life chances. The power of institutions has diminished, and there is greater accountability for those in leadership. This helps create an environment where our different identities can be valued in a pluralistic public square while conscious of both our rights and responsibilities.
There is a lot of work to do. There can be a temptation to retreat into spaces, especially online, digital spaces, where our definition of community is limited to those who agree with us, and society ends up becoming increasingly fragmented. So Paul wrote to the Romans, "So then, let us pursue the things that make for peace and the building up of one another."
Alongside others, we in the churches have a role to play in providing spaces to express our interconnectedness and our shared concern for the common good. It is our hope that during 2021, shared reflection on our past will support and strengthen this engagement and and inspire us to renew our commitment to the work of building peace for the future.